Christmas story, but I wanted to read that this morning. Tithes and offerings. Where are you going to?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to read it in Luke and in Matthew, because Matthew has the account of what we call, who we call the three wise men. Well, the wise men, I don't know if there was three, there could have been more. It just says wise men, but I want to read in Luke 2. About that time, Caesar Augustus ordered a census to be taken throughout the empire. This was the first census when Cornelius was governor of Syria. Now, this is a time where everybody in Jerusalem, everybody in the surrounding towns had to come pay taxes, come pay their tax. Or, you know, I just love the timing of God, because His timing is perfect. Everyone had to travel to his own ancestral hometown to be accounted for. So Joseph went from the Galilean town of Nazareth up to Bethlehem in Judea, David's town, for the census. As a descendant of David, he had to go there. He went with Mary, his fiancée, who was pregnant. While they were there, the time came for her to give birth. She gave birth to a son, her firstborn. She wrapped him in a blanket and laid him in a manger because there was no room in the hostel. Now, when it says there was no room, we think maybe a motel or hotel, but I did a little Googling last night. And what they would have did was, if you would have a home in Jerusalem or in a surrounding town, you would have a guest room built on top of your house.
Right.
And what they did was, either people that came to this certain time, this once, you know, this census, they wouldn't have no place to stay because they were from out of town. They would stay with their family in the guest room, or sometimes it was a law that they had to invite strangers to stay in the guest room during this time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what I mean by God's timing is so perfect is Jesus was not to be born in a guest room.
Amen.
He was to be born in a manger because he was a sacrificial lamb.
That's right.
Amen.
He was to be born among the animals because he was not to be a perfect. He was the perfect child, yes, but he was not to be born in a perfect environment.
Right.
He was to be a sacrifice for our sin. That's why he was born in a manger. And so many people think that, oh, there was no room. They couldn't have gave room for Jesus. It was not about that. God's timing was perfect. He knew that this time was going to come, and he knew that the guest rooms were going to be filled up.
That's right.
Come on.
Praise
Amen.
God.
Now I want to go back to Matthew 2. And I'm reading out of the Message version. And the Message calls them scholars, but we call them wise men. And Matthew 2, after Jesus was born in Bethlehem village, Judea territory, this was during Herod's kingship. A band of scholars arrived in Jerusalem from the east. They asked around, where can we find and pay homage to the newborn king of the Jews? Now look, they were on a pilgrimage, and their sole purpose was to come worship King Jesus. That's why they were on this voyage, they were on this trip. We observed a star in the eastern sky that signaled his birth. We're on pilgrimage to worship him. When word of their inquiry got to Herod, he was terrified, and not Herod alone, but most of Jerusalem as well. Herod lost no time. He gathered all the high priests and religious scholars in the city together and asked, where is this Messiah supposed to be born? They told him, Bethlehem, Judea territory. The prophet Micah wrote it plainly. It's you, Bethlehem, in Judea's land, no longer bringing up the rear. From you will come the leader who will shepherd, rule my people, my Israel. Herod then arranged a secret meeting with the scholars from the east, pretending to be as devout as they were. Now we know Herod was a wicked person. He wanted to kill Jesus, because we know that because he killed babies from newborn to 2 years old. He didn't know how old he was. He was just going to go out there and start killing babies, you know. He was a wicked man. Go find this child. Leave no stone unturned. As soon as you find him, send word and I'll join you at once in your worship. Instructed by the king, they set off. Then the star appeared again. The same star they had seen in the eastern skies. Now this sounds like a moving star. A star that moved. Because it led them to where Jesus was born. Well, he would have been born already. Then the star appeared again, the same star they had seen in the eastern skies. It led them on until it hovered over the place of the child. They could hardly contain themselves. Can you imagine? They'd been traveling for days. They were in the right place. They had arrived at the right time. They entered the house. They didn't enter no barn. It says they entered the house. They entered the house and saw the child in the arms of Mary, his mother. Overcome, they kneeled and worshipped him. Then they opened their luggage and presented gifts, gold, frankincense, and myrrh. In a dream, they were warned not to report back to Herod, so they worked out another route, left the territory without being seen, and returned to their own country. And I just, this morning, you know, we all brought a gift for each of us. We're going to open later, have a meal together. But I want to tell each and every one of you that you brought yourself as a gift to Jesus.
Amen.
Jesus, you are his gift. I want to tell you that right now, that you are his gift. And God has placed you in this earth for him to unwrap.
Praise God.
Amen.
And that is what we're going to do. We're presenting our bodies as a living sacrifice. That's who we are. We're a gift to King Jesus.
Praise Hallelujah.
And we're going to be wise men. We're going to be magi. We're going to be scholars, and we're going to seek the King.
Amen.
This morning.
Amen.
And worship him.
Amen.
So let's just lift up this